Hi guys, welcome to Myth, Magic, and History. Today we are going to be a little bit more on the historical side. I do have to let you know, you gotta bear with me a little bit. I am already a day late. This video was supposed to be going up on Thursday to celebrate Apollo's birthday, but we have had emergency running one of our dogs back and forth to the vet all week. So I'm a little discombobulated, and he's fine. He's doing good. It's just that I also noticed that I posted my Chinese New Year video on the wrong channel because I have a personal YouTube account where I just use it for listening to my own stuff, and then I just have this channel to post my videos. So I'm a little bit discombobulated, guys, so please bear with me a little bit here. But February 6th is this beautiful goddess Artemis's birthday, and February 7th is Apollo's. Now, I do have to say there is a source out there that says that Apollo's birthday is September 7th, and I'm going to tell you why I don't like this. Not that it's not right, but why February 7th resonates with me way more is because Artemis's sacred number is 2. And while you could say that she was born on September 7th, that gives 5 days between her birth and Apollo's, and that means that her mother was having her race around with her while fleeing from the python that Hera sent on, Leto. So I don't, one, like the idea of that, and two, if you go with September 7th, you are doubling down on Apollo's sacred number and kind of leaving Artemis out. And Apollo is very yin and yang with not only his sister Artemis, but Dionysus. Their energies flow together through feminine and masculine, or different parts of know thyself. And it kind of, you see, when Artemis was born, she asked her father Zeus that she would have as many names as her brother. And to me, that's kind of her being like, I don't want to be left out. We're equal. I need you to make sure that we're equal. So to me, putting his birthday as September 7th takes away from Artemis. I also may be a little biased, guys, because February 7th is my birthday, and Apollo is my patron god. So I really like his birthday on February 7th. But the reason that it is perceived, or has been said over and over again, that it is February 7th has to do with the Oracle of Delphi, and that is why we are here today. So, Artemis and Apollo were born on Delos Island, but Apollo, by the way, this is a visual. Artemis, their mother, and Apollo, he burst from her full adult male form, which I can only imagine was very painful for Leto. But, he slew the python, and in honor of Gaia, who was worshipped there first, and the python, he named his priestess there Pythia. So that was a way of honoring Gaia. Now, Gaia's priestesses originally gave oracle readings in a cave there. And so Delphi's always had this oracle there. There's always been a spiritual thing there. Which, by the way, guys, this necklace has 4 dolphins on it, and on the other side is 2 ram heads. This is a symbol for Delphi. I got this in Greece. I got it in Delphi. I've always had a spiritual connection to Delphi. And when I was starting out, I have 4 main deities that I work with in the Greek pantheon, and 3 of them are right in front of you, and 3 of them had cults at Delphi. So for me, Delphi's a big deal. it was a big deal for a lot of people back then as well. Now, that's not to say that I don't work with other gods and goddesses, but my main 4 are them, and I do work with the lovely goddess Artemis down here. I do very much adore her. I got to go to her temple. I can't remember if it went where it was. It starts with an L. I'll try to get that information for you guys next video, if in case you do go and visit Greece. But her temple is beautiful. I mean, the temple itself is in ruins, but they have her stoa, and you can walk along the path of her stoa because they have like little bridges, and it's really peaceful there. Comparatively to Delphi, this is both fortunate and unfortunate for spiritual seekers, is that there's not a lot of people there. They have a little museum dedicated to Artemis, which is very nice. If you get a chance, go in it. But the nice thing is that, okay, if you go to Greece, they just re-recognized Hellenism in their own country. But you cannot actually go to any of the old temples and worship or meditate. They don't like that. They will ask you to stop. So any spiritual pilgrimages you're going on, know that before you book it, because that is something that I would have liked to know before I booked mine. But I'm not going to get too much into that sidetrack. But if you go to the Temple of Artemis, you should not have hundreds of people around, you know, watching your every move. I actually got to meditate on the place where her temple was. Now, in Delphi, I did meditate. You have to, if someone approaches you, just be like, I'm tired. I just needed to rest my eyes. There is no Om position. There, you know, it's, you know, I just needed a break. And trust me, if you're not in shape, you will need a break. It is an up-level climb. There are no handrails. There were some people on our journey that were older who needed the break. Just tidbit of information that if you're going to Greece, they're not to the point where we can worship back there, guys. It's all secret. But to get on with everything, so Apollo slayed the python. He named his priestess Pythia, but he shared Delphi kind of with Hestia. She has her hearth fire there, and Hestia is the goddess of the hearth. So she's goddess of baking bread. So your bakers, and then she's all the household duties. She actually was a goddess of architecture, so she built the first houses, which is why her main worship center was in the home. However, there were a few accounts of where she did have temples, and most of them we don't know the exact location for, but one of the places she did have one was Sparta. And anyway, at Delphi, if a city-states they all had a hearth fire to honor her. If that hearth fire for the city-state went out, they had to go to Delphi and get the fire and relight their own hearth fire. And there are accounts of people dying trying to get this hearth fire back to their city-state because it was that important. Hestia, once Apollo and Poseidon both went after her hand, and she swore an oath of virginity. So Zeus honored her by giving her the first rites and offering, and if it's a wine offering, she gets first and the last. Sorry, Artemis. So she's, was ingrained every day through the house. She had her first rite offerings. She's fantastic, guys. Like, working with her is amazing. Just because she chose to stay a maiden doesn't mean she's not totally badass. Pardon my French. Now, in the winter, Apollo would go away. So, February 7th, being an important date, and why it's tied to being Apollo's birthday is because that is the day that the Pythia gave her oracle. Originally, it was just one day a year. So you would go on February 7th and you would bring your goat. You would bring your goat and you'd wait in line, and you might, if you didn't have anything to offer, go see the Sibyl, who was stationed along the path up to the temple. And if she wasn't busy, you could go and get a reading with her. Otherwise, you would continue up the path. The priest would take your goat. He would pour a bucket of ice water over the goat, and if the goat shook it off, Apollo wanted to answer your question. If the goat did not shake it off, and he just kind of like stared at you like, what the heck just happened, you got sent away. And guys, this is not an easy thing to handle. People came to Delphi as far away as Gaul or modern day France in order to get their questions answered. So can you imagine making a trip from Gaul down to see this oracle with this offering and get told, sorry, Apollo doesn't want to talk to you right now. You can't be here. And I'm sorry, it makes me laugh a little bit. Just thinking about, I always think about the goat's face. Like, he probably had no idea what was going on, and then all of a sudden, bam, ice cold water. And then, so anyway, you'd have to come back the next time the Pythia was answering questions. And remember, in the beginning, this was one day a year, February 7th. Eventually, they opened up the oracle to answer questions on the 7th of every month through February to October. Because after that, Apollo kind of went on vacation, and Dionysus took over. So his cult ran wild through the mountains, and then there were seven maidens from Delphi and 7 maidens from Athens, I believe, and they were all led to the cave where the Oracle of Gaia used to give her readings. So Dionysus's festivities were not calm like Apollo's by any means, and this is what I mean is yin and yang, as Apollo is one side of know thyself, Dionysus was the other. Dionysus was chaotic energy. He was raw emotion. His ladies went a little crazy. But he's all about purging the darkness and getting out everything, like knowing what you're not and purging that out. And Apollo's kind of like learning what you are. Like, this is me. This is me. And this is identifying what you're not. Getting out that darkness, leading you to the light. He's the winter sun. Apollo is the summer sun. Now, Apollo is also the god of the sun in general, but Dionysus is referred to as the winter sun. And Apollo's yin and yang aspect goes back to his sister, because both Apollo and Dionysus are considered feminine men. Now, they're both sportsmen. They have been in wars. But comparative to Ares or Poseidon, they are considered more feminine. And that's where Artemis is more the masculine, she's feminine, but she's more masculine compared to Hestia. And so Delphi is wonderful for many reasons, and I could say that probably the most known or most famous telling of one of the oracle's readings was from the king of Lydia, who asked if he should invade another country or not to expand, and the oracle basically told him that if he crossed the river, a great kingdom would fall. He interpreted that as that means he's going to conquer, he's going to rule. Well, no, that's not what happened. His kingdom fell, so he was mad at the oracle, and the oracle was like, it's not my fault, you should have been more specific. So, that also goes to say is that this king kind of, he kind of got what he deserved because he did not believe in her power. And so in the beginning, he kind of tested them by saying, hey, he tested a lot of oracles in Greece. It wasn't just Delphi. But he sent out tests to say, hey, what am I going to be doing in 100 days? Because I don't believe that you're the real thing. Well, the only one who got it right was the Oracle of Delphi. So if she gave him the right answer then, she knew he was going to be chopping up turtles and putting them in the soup. Why is she going to give him something so cryptic? It's because she was like, yeah, you want to test me? You're going to get what you deserve. That's my opinion. You can read it however you want. But that's what happened. My favorite reading from the Oracle of Delphi is when the Persians were invading. And they're invading, and everybody at Delphi is starting to freak out because they know what's happening to the rest of Athens and everything. So they're gathering up stuff to haul out of there, save their own lives, save what they can. And the Pythia comes out and she says, do nothing. Apollo knows how to protect his property. So, not long after she gave that, and everybody kind of went, okay, and they stopped freaking out, or at least some of them did. Some of them stayed. There was a landslide that wiped out part of the Persian army, and what was left couldn't cross. There were a few guys who were able to get into the temple of Delphi, and they did take a couple things. But for the most part, Delphi was intact. It wasn't destroyed. It was solid. So that's my favorite one. And if it doesn't make you feel secure about Apollo, I don't know, it makes me feel secure. So Delphi was not only a place of oracles, it was also had games second to the Olympics. It was so popular. People came from all over to see these games. The other thing that's good about the yin and yang of Delphi, it had the world's first art competition, the art festivals. People, it was just as popular there. They would come from all over to participate in these art competitions. It had theater, whatever you could really think of, they were doing there. It was it's just as popular as the sports. It was such a good flow. Like, I don't know, you can take it how you want. I love that aspect. Now, Delphi, there were time periods when the Romans took over that it was kind of shut down or at low levels or not as popular. Hadrian at one point did restore the oracle for a little while, but overall, the decimation of Delphi came with Christianity, and they said that pretty much, how do I put this lightly, that they were pretty much summoning souls from hell to come out of the Pythia. That's the light version of it. And, it just wasn't true. I'm sorry. And, you can't, you can blame them all you want. I still work with the Christian pantheon because I cannot blame the god or the angels for the misdeeds of the people. I just, it's hard for me because I'm so in love with Delphi to think. I went back to Delphi. I saw Delphi. I saw the Elysian Mysteries. I see, where the Christians came through and they put crosses, they carved them into the stone. And that's kind of heartbreaking for me because I don't like anybody doing that to anybody's religion, whether I worship it or not. I think we just got to be respectful, but, different time, different place, different things. People did things that they shouldn't, and people are still doing things that they shouldn't, but I feel very hopeful for the future. I think we're getting better in at least some parts of the world. Part of the thing about Delphi is our tour guide there was an archaeologist. There's no vaporous gas that turn these Pythia into lunatics or manic or in mania. In fact, the word in Greece used to describe the altered state the Pythia went in was translated in Latin to something that meant frenzied. And that's where you get this idea of the Pythia was like going crazy and the priest had to interpret her words. But if you go to Greece, they're going to tell you, no, she spoke it just as you would go to a reader today. She spoke her words. There was no crazy frenzy. There was no translations of priests. And, sometimes, they may have. You can't say 100% for sure, but I will always side with the Greeks on their culture. The thing about these cults in ancient Greece and in other parts of the world too, you don't know what happened completely. You have clues. You have some written accounts. But if you go to the Elysian Mystery School, they will tell you it was illegal to speak, to write about what happened inside these secret cults. They wanted to keep it a secret. They didn't want, everybody to go out and do this at home. And you could take that as you want, as they wanted some kind of control, or they wanted something sacred, a sacred space just for their goddesses. They didn't want Billy down the street defending their goddess because he don't know what he's doing. Take it how you want. But it was a crime for the Elysian Mystery Schools that if you even alluded to what went on behind the doors, that you would be put to death. It was some heavy things. They protected their rights. They protected the honor of their deities. So, being that as it may, the Pythia did start out as a young maiden, but unfortunately, she, sometimes she was too beautiful, and, whether it be an arrogant man from Greece or another country, I'm not going to say where, but there are accounts of the Pythia getting raped. There is an account where one of the Pythia ran off with one of the, I forget the term they used, but he worked in the temple, and her and him ran off together. And so, through that, they started going with older women. So you would take the wiser, more spiritual older woman. If they had a family, they had to cut ties with their family completely to serve Apollo. And though the Pythia started out as one, eventually there was so much popularity that they were up to 3. So at the height of it, there were 3 Pythias. I do not know if there was more than one Sibyl ever. She's not as often talked about, and I'm sure I can find resources later on, but I'm already at 25 minutes. I'm sure some of you guys are like, she's still babbling on. I love this. So, if anything, this video is to honor Apollo and Artemis, firstly, for their birthday. Their mother, Gaia, Dionysus, and Hestia. Is a big group today, guys. But we love them. And I hope that you found something useful for you here. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. I'm hoping it'll be the start of my Dionysus video. I'm a little behind because of everything that happened with Jenny, but if not, I will have something for you next week, I promise. So, have a great day, guys. I gotta go upload my Chinese New Year video that I posted to the wrong YouTube account. So, I love you guys, and just have a blessed day. Happy February.